They say it's darkest before the dawn, and maybe this is the potential dawn for new players. Maybe. Let's talk about this new story mode that's coming in The War Within. Holly Longdale said in an interview in April 2024 that they know they have a lot of work to do on new player acquisition and want to improve new player experiences. New player experiences is something I feel very passionately about, and it was the basis of my first video on the channel back in January. I'm very empathetic when it comes to new players starting out in World of Warcraft, and I wish they could see and feel what the veterans do. It makes me sad when players give WoW a chance and immediately put it down, because they feel lost and confused, and it's something Blizzard desperately need to improve on. World of Warcraft is an amazing game, but if you're a newcomer, it's almost impossible to make sense of anything, as the game doesn't do a great job of teaching you the game outside of the basics on Exile's Reach, which is basically Tutorial Island. It's streamlined, it's fast, and it will teach you the fundamentals: questing, loot, dungeons, etc. It really lacks the flavour of the original zones though, and what World of Warcraft is. You know what I'm talking about. You can hear the Elwyn Forest music, or what about the Violet Forest with the Night Elves? This might be considered a dead or slept on topic at this point, but I wanted to discuss it all the same, as I think there needs to be more eyes and ears on this. Recently, World of Warcraft players discovered evidence of a story mode, a new raid difficulty being introduced in The War Within. According to a forum post by WoW developer Limestone, the story mode will be a narrative-focused version of the final boss encounter, with reduced difficulty and complexity. The challenge is being designed as a one-time encounter, but players can repeat the boss fight if they so choose. The story mode is designed to be played solo or with up to 5 players, and as mentioned, it only includes the final boss. This already sounds like a massive win, and I think it's important that we praise Blizzard when they get it right, as we're so quick to call them out when they get it wrong. This is a really great idea, and if it's something we can see incorporated into previous raids, then we're finally onto a winner. I'm always curious how players feel about the story, and if it's a big part of the experience for them. And whilst this isn't mandatory, this is one of the biggest wins I think Blizzard have ever had. I'm really excited to see how they can bridge this with older content, because that absolutely has to happen. There are some very positive things happening with WoW right now as far as this is concerned. WoW Remix, this new story mode, follower dungeons. I think it's time for Chromie to step aside, and for Blizzard to forge a completely new experience for new players. However, I then read that the story difficulty raid will be releasing alongside the final wing of Looking for Raid, so players can expect it a few weeks after the full instance is available. And this is the part that I'm struggling with. I don't know why this is a thing. I don't know why it matters, and it doesn't make sense to ruin players' solo story experience by time gating them. Just let them do it at launch. The same applies for LFR, which I would honestly campaign to remove at this stage if this story mode is being introduced. It's just not needed. The difficulties in raids are already excessive and unnecessary. The only thing I could think of is that by gating this story experience, it encourages players to participate in normal mode instead. It doesn't make sense to me. It's a dumb decision to time gate it. Having to find out the outcome of a raid via YouTube never feels good, and this is often the case for new players learning the story generally speaking, because it's impossible to via the game, and that is due to poor preservation and just a lack of regard to new blood. It's just mind-blowing to me how Blizzard create the biggest win and then turn it into the biggest L in a matter of days. Here's that story mode you've been begging for a long time, particularly because you want to experience the story as it releases to avoid spoilers without needing to join a normal or above raid group. We don't know why you'd want to do that, so we hope that waiting for LFR is okay. So players who can't or don't want to raid in other difficulties, for whatever reason that may be, have to now avoid social media to stay spoiler free. The story mode needs to be available from the jump, as soon as the raid opens. It just feels like a slap in the face for casual players, and that seems to be a recurring theme. This is clearly not about gear, which is incredibly refreshing to see, so why not just release it when the raid comes out? The likely reason for this is because it's only the last boss. Blizzard probably thought it would be better if it matches up with the release of LFR so everybody can experience it together. It is however just one boss, and the rewards are going to be negligible if they even exist at all besides an achievement. It probably should be the whole raid too, in all honesty. Of course the end is the most important part, but it will feel odd to just jump in and kill the last boss with no raid build up. I don't know, the whole thing is mind-boggling to me. There's no reason to time gate this fight for 4 weeks plus. It ruins the pacing, and people who are asking for a story mode don't exactly want a difficulty anyway. They just want a solo scenario and feel like they're having a conclusion in the story. The whole point of the story mode is the story, believe it or not, and gear and difficulty can take a back seat as far as this is concerned. All players want is to feel like they're going on an adventure and being able to understand the narrative, and that's what all of this is about. When I made the Island of Irrelevancy video, it was exactly for something like this. I still would have probably opted for incorporating the follower dungeons personally, as I feel that is a feature that is just going to fade into obscurity immediately. The followers could provide some great dialogue when progressing through these solo scenarios. I always hark back to the NPCs in Icecrown Citadel with Arthas, and we could apply that to this new raid in the War Within. This will allow people to get to know the characters they aren't familiar with, and could provide some extra dialogue and lore, stay a while and listen moments. I'm very much aware of the gotta go fast mentality most WoW players have, but that is completely foreign and irrelevant in a setting like this. This is all about learning, exploration, and understanding. It's not immersive having to wait 4 weeks to get the conclusion I've been itching for while playing through the story, and I really hope Blizzard change this. They're looking for feedback on this, so do make your voice heard if you feel strongly about this. The World of Warcraft team have had so many wins recently, whether that be Dragonflight, Season of Discovery, WoW Remix, or whatever you're interested in right now. We've seen this stubbornness before, and it's only a matter of time until they yield. Eventually, Blizzard give in and give the players what they want, whether that's warbands, pulling the ripcord in Shadowlands, or even classic WoW.
You think you do, but you don't.
But I understand that for some of you, your favorite flavor is vanilla.
All this time gating does is make a portion of the player base have to wait for story progression, and there's no good reason or rationale behind it. As I mentioned earlier, I would personally do away with LFR at this point after the story mode comes in. We already have Heroic and Mythic as the advanced and hard difficulties. I would honestly make normal queuable at this stage, but that's just me. So as it stands, I'm definitely not happy about the way this is shaping up so far, but I'm still really glad that Blizzard are getting the ball rolling on this, and it's extremely encouraging. There is so much work to be done for new players, and this is absolutely a step in the right direction, and I'm hopeful for the future. I just hope they can address the time gating, because it's unnecessary, and it makes no sense to do something like this. What are your thoughts on the story mode? Are you excited to finally be able to have a solo story experience? Does this give you confidence for the future to learn more about the game? Do you play World of Warcraft for the story? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.